Hi everyone, my name is Archita, myself as an aspiring actuary and your host for today in this very special episodes Actuary Speaks podcast powered by Jaihind College. Today we have a very special guest, Miss Varshini with us. She is a qualified actuary and has been working as a senior manager at Marsh McLennan. She has about 5 years of experience and studied economics before. Hello, Miss Varshini, welcome here.
Thank you.
So let's jump right on to our first question. Could you please tell us why you chose actuarial science when you were very young? And how did economics help you?
Um, Choosing actuarial science happened to be, as a result of not choosing other career options that I had at the moment. After my 12th, I had few options with me, and actually, my mama suggested actuarial science to me, so that's how I got to know about it, and I was considering it. And I think out of all the options that I had, this one was different. It seemed unique, and the others, for some reason, I wasn't interested in that. So
Mm,
I ended up doing actuarial science. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue this or not. I wanted to give it a try, and I liked economics in my 11th and 12th. So I thought I'll
mm,
pursue economics so that if this doesn't work out, because I didn't have any guidance, it was all very
mm,
new. Um,
mm,
so I thought I'll do economics, and if things
mm,
don't work out, then I can do something in that, and otherwise, I'll just explore actuarial science. So I gave one paper, I liked it, and then I gave, a couple of other papers, and then, I finally decided that okay, this is something that I want to do, and yeah. And I just continued with it. In terms of how economics helped me, well, as I said, it was more of a backup plan for me or an alternative. I wouldn't call it backup, it wasn't that secondary. Um, so it might not have helped me directly with my actuarial papers, but I think the concepts of economics, the very basic concepts of economics like trade-off or opportunity cost has definitely helped me with managing exams and work, and not getting affected by sometimes you don't clear exams or something of that sort. Then I think that definitely helped me, because I'm like, okay, it's okay, I only have limited amount of time. And there's
mm,
so many things I want to do. So, okay, I have to trade off something and then be okay with it. I think those concepts of thinking along those lines definitely help. But I think on a more serious note, economics, like understanding economics, is a very good skill generally. So I think. Even if it hasn't helped me directly, I think it has acted as a catalyst, or maybe in grasping some of the concepts or just
mm.
understanding things.
That's very nice. So, what was the most challenging part in your academic journey? How did you get past of it? Overcoming the situations. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most challenging part of the journey probably has been uh, exams themselves, or
Yeah, definitely.
it's like you keep thinking on, rather than exams, the illusion of that you are studying for the whole year, or your entire life is kind of like
Mm,
revolves around exams, because like a couple of months before exams, you're preparing for the exams. Then, of course, there's the exam, and then there's anticipation of results. And after results, you're planning, and then the cycle continues. And whenever you want to make plans, it's like, oh, okay, I can't do this now after exams or something of that sort. So
mm,
I think that has been a bit of a challenge, because then it is so taxing, because you just keep
mm.
thinking that you're only studying and you're not doing anything else. But in reality, that's not true. You're not studying
Right.
for the whole year. It's just an illusion that you're studying. So I think then you're in a rush, because if you keep thinking that I don't have a life, I'm not doing anything, I just want to get done with exams, then you put so much extra pressure on yourself that I have to clear exams. So I think I just, at one point, I just, like, I just thought, okay, fine. I just hit pause, and I told myself that I've chosen this career, and I know I want to pursue it. So one day it will happen. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
when. It can be 10 years from now if it has to. It's okay. But I can't keep thinking that I have to. I can't keep thinking it as an obstacle and I have to kind of, get past it. I just have to live with it. So I think somehow when I was in a rush to clear exams, it was more challenging. But when I then later decided that it's okay, even if I fail a couple of times or even if it takes me long, it's okay. That somehow helped me clear exams a bit faster. I think that there's little bit less pressure. You're more relaxed. You can think. At least the later papers,
True.
um, you need to be able to think a lot more. You need to be calm. You need to be able to apply your skills. So
Mhm.
I think that way that helped. And I think another challenge probably was the transition from the numerical exams to the theoretical exams. The CT series, or the CMCS and the CB series are more numerical. And I think as actuarial students, everybody likes the maths element, but the theory paper then becomes but I would say it wasn't my best skill to write such long answers. So I think maybe that was a bit of a challenge. But I think once you understand what the examiner is actually testing or what is it that they're looking for, then I
Mhm.
think it's easier. That's about it.
That is so relatable for students like us. So, what's the best advice, to start in this field quickly? Like everybody wants to, go get there. I mean,
Yeah.
soonest. So, uh,
Yeah.
we want to know the best advice.
Okay, but I think more than advice, I think I have a question. Why quickly? What is
Correct.
the rush, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be working for the next 30 to 40 years of your life. So if initially if you take like 2 3 years, I personally don't feel like there's a lot of harm. Actuarial science is a very long commitment, and as students, when you start, you don't know a lot of things. I mean, these days, of course, times have changed, and people know about it a lot more. But even still, today I meet people who don't know much about actuarial science.
Mm.
There's a lot of
Correct.
other things. Like it is about maths, but it's not just about maths. There's so much more to it, and knowing how the work is going to be. So I think people are less aware, and when we're students with kids, right, we don't know about a lot of things. So I think instead of having a long checklist that okay, these are the things that I have to do, like these are the papers I must clear, or I need to know this software skill or something along those lines. Instead of that, just keep asking yourself, is it something that you like? Because if you just decided I'm doing actuarial science because somebody has asked me to do, or maybe because it's a very good a very good job or something along those lines, then it's just then there's going to be a lot of pressure, and then it's not fun. You have to enjoy whatever you're doing, and every profession is challenging. It's not just actuarial science. No matter what profession you choose, if you want to excel in it, it is going to be challenging. So I wouldn't put actuarial science on a pedestal and be like, oh, this is amazing and ye kar lo to life ban jayegi or something of that sort. So quickly is something which I don't know. I think my advice would be to ask yourself why the rush, why quickly. Be sure about what you want to do, because it is gonna stay with you for some time. You have to do these exams and you have to keep preparing. So that would be my advice. And whatever it is that you're doing, do it well, know it well. Like there's no such thing as you must have these many papers, or you need to have CT series done before you start applying for jobs. It's okay even if you have one paper or two paper, but just if you know the concepts and the applications of it, I think as a candidate you would stand out a bit more, at least for me, as compared to someone who probably has 6 7 papers, but they might not know the applications that well.
Correct. So, we would like to know what a typical day of your job looks like. Is it, I mean, a very long day, or you get to just chill a bit?
Mm, I mean, it differs. I mean, it's never like not every single day is constant. You're not busy throughout the day, right? So it changes depending upon the busy period. And then, as I said, if it is something that you like doing, then you wouldn't really mind. Spending a couple of hours extra because you find it interesting, right? You're solving a problem, you find it interesting, and sometimes even if it is not a very busy period, then you're just working on a project because you want to, then you end up spending a bit more time. So I think my typical day, I try to like emphasis on the words try because I don't, it doesn't always happen, but I try to be a bit more disciplined because I don't personally want to work for long hours because of course your energy then diminishes, you're not very efficient.
Correct.
So there's no
Very
point
true.
doing so much. So I try to keep like work for like 8 hours if I'm doing, and try to get done as much as possible. But then sometimes, if business needs, then I have to kind of power
Mm,
through it.
yeah. So, what is the most exciting trend, when we are studying actuarial science right now, or that we should keep an eye on as a student?
I think I feel anything and everything, to be
Mhm,
honest, because I think
mhm.
actuarial science is something which can be applied to a wide range of areas, right?
Okay.
So, of course, there are like these buzzwords that you keep hearing: AI, machine learning, climate change, ESG. There are quite a lot of things that people keep talking about. But I think it could be anything. I mean, I remember during COVID, people were making their own COVID models and predictions in terms of how it's going to last or how long it's going to be there and things like that. So I think wherever there's uncertainty, there's actuarial science. So
Yeah.
whatever you find, like and there's so many elements which are uncertain. So I think you can apply these skills. So again, I'm probably gonna repeat myself, but by saying that whatever it is that you are interested in would take you places basically, because we might not even know that you might actually end up picking a topic people might not even know, but then because out of your
Mm.
interest you might start building something, you might create a market for yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
well. So, let us move towards a quick fire round and, get into something very interesting and fun. Are you ready? So, you've shared a lot. Let's do a quick rapid fire questions round right now. What tool you use at work that might be useful for all of us?
By tool, do you happen to mean like a software program or something?
Yes, yes.
So I have just used Excel, and I
Okay.
use it like, yeah, I use it for everything.
Um,
So yeah.
okay. And great best study hack for tough exams.
Short answer, study. Long answer would be try to understand, as I said earlier, try to understand what the examiner is, like what the exam is actually testing, what kind of skills it is testing.
Correct.
Then try
Okay.
to understand what your weaknesses are, and know what your strengths are, and capitalize on them, and then create a strategy which works for you. Because if it is, if the emphasis on tough exam, of course you're going to be asking a lot of people like, oh, how did you do it, how did you prepare, and everybody will give you different answers. Somebody will say make your own notes or do revision notes, buy flashcards. There's lots and lots of advice that people can give you, but I think but if you don't need them, if you're not good at making notes, you just do it because somebody has asked you to make notes, then it's not helping you clear exams. So it's very important to understand, maybe it helped them, right? So what, as an advice, what people are giving is basically the tools that help them, but you need to understand what is it that you want and which tool that you can pick and choose. So you can ask people, try to understand what tools are available, study tools, and then see what is it that you need. Uh,
Okay. So, any skill set that you use every day, or any books you would like to, recommend?
Um, I think skill set and books, different questions. So I think in terms of skill set, I would say uh, tracking your time, as a tool. I
Mm.
think that is helpful. I do it do that at work, and even personally guilty of not doing it every day. But
Very true.
I think I try to do it as much as possible because then it helps me understand, okay, how much time do I have and what can I do, and yeah, it has helped me a lot. And I think in terms of books, I I think I would just leave that as personal, probably preference, like whatever people like, and mine just changes. Sometimes it can be fiction, or sometimes
Very true.
it is just uh, like I can't. The psychology wouldn't be the right genre, but something around like self help or something like that. So it keeps changing.
Hmm. And any go-to resource for learning new things, ma'am?
Go to I think would be Google. There's literally everything out there. Of course, you can buy books, talk to people, but then yeah, you whatever you research, everything's out there. So you can just Google, and especially with ChatGPT, it's a bit more easier.
Yeah.
Just ask. So yeah.
Yes. So, what dream project you would love to work on?
Dream project? I don't think there's anything specific at the moment, but I think randomly just picking up something. Like I think the COVID example which I gave, which people
Correct.
did, I think just randomly picking up something and then working on it and coming up with
Mm-hmm.
some. Probably that would be a dream project. I still don't know what that is, and uh,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes, too. Okay. And last one, what's the moment you're proud of in your work?
Okay, so okay, I'll take something from my previous experience. So we had to explain to the client in terms of how we do the pricing or how the assumptions make an impact, or and how the kind of book that they write, the business that they write. I was into reinsurance broking earlier, so the kind of insurance policies that they write, the nature of it, how that has an impact on their reinsurance pricing. I think for that we created a very simple workbook which helps them understand that okay, if this is the kind of policies that I write, then this has that impact. But similarly, if I do something else, then this is the impact. So it was very simple, broken down into smaller elements, and yeah, I mean, at least I personally thought it was quite good. So I think that's probably a moment where I was proud of. But I think overall, I think it is when I know something in depth,
Mm.
and then to be able to explain it in a very simple way to the audience. If I can do that, and yeah, that is probably something which makes me happy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for all your valuable insights. You are awesome on actually speaks. Hope this helps other students like me who are pursuing actuarial science. And I'm your host, Archita, signing off from Jai Hind College. Keep learning, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being there and guiding us.
Thank you.